Hey, what's up guys? It's Unincredible Aim. Today we're going to be doing a bombing tutorial. I've had a lot of activity on my videos involving the bombs. I don't have a lot with the Starling. I've got a lot more with the Rogue, but people have been commenting on my videos asking if there was any tips or anything I could share to help them get better. So I figured it'd just be easier to make a video on it and just show what I've done to get better with both planes and just bombing in general. So without further ado, we're just going to jump right into it. Alright, so we just got into our Rogue. I'll tell you the very first thing that I like to do, which is a big tip, and it just helps in dogfighting and aerial combat in general, is just go into your settings, go to your, I believe it's under display radar, let's see, expanded radar. Just make sure that's on because it provides sort of a accurate scaling and completely over the head shot of where you're flying. You're able to see aircraft coming up on you, anything in the map at any given time, and it just helps a lot with scaling. I do rely a lot on the expanded radar just to kind of help me gauge my speed that I'm coming in and when I might need to release the bomb. So we just use that in conjunction with also looking out visually onto the ground. So that's probably one of the first tips I'd like to share. And let's get airborne. Alright, so we're headed out to Sandy Shores. I'm just picking a random building now to practice on. We're just going to try to hit that one. It's out here at the lake, so we don't have a lot that can get in the way as far as hitting anything. So we're just going to practice on this smallish building to start off. Just kind of getting our bearings, getting a little warmed up. So I believe I'm correct, it's that one right there to the right with the two lights. So it is dark right now, a little hard to see. But main thing is you just pick a target that's fairly large that you can start practicing on and just get the hang of it. So we're just going to come in and I'm going to release right about here. We're going to use Bond Cam and I was able to hit it. So of course you're not, you may get it the first time, you may not. You just got to practice. The main thing is, the good thing about the Rogue is it has if you just release the throttle, it will just kind of glide there. So, see, I'm not touching the throttle, I'm just moving the stick to look around. But it just kind of, it's like cruise control, if you will, and it keeps a constant speed. So this is the main thing you want to make sure at first is you want to try to eliminate as many variables as possible when you're trying to master something. So if you can just get used to the speed that the Rogue flies, and that's one less thing for you to have to master before you can get the bombing down. So right now I'm just going to release and see, I was a little past that building right there. My height was a little more than last time, but that's okay. Main thing is you just leave this Rogue at this speed and just use your yaw and ailerons to get yourself situated back to where you need to be. See, there's another direct hit. But that way you don't have to worry about all this crazy speed that's going to affect your bomb drop. So see, if I'm going in fast, now I'm kind of used to the Rogue at max speed too, but if I'm kind of going in fast, then it affects the speed at which the bomb is going to drop and all that. So I was able to hit that time, but I am very used to the Rogue, so I can kind of gauge about when I need to drop a bomb, when I don't need to, as far as what speed it's going. But that would be my second big tip is pick the Rogue first, or a plane that, any prop driven plane will probably do this, that has bombs. You can do the Seabreeze, it's a good one too. Just keep your speed constant and just practice hitting the building or whatever you decide to pick. Just say if you don't want to practice on such a small building first off, then just try something larger, like come out here to these rocks, and this will be a good target to practice on, and just release and hit the side of the rocks. You know, you can practice on these satellite dishes. It just really depends on you know, your skill level and what you feel comfortable with. So that's the main thing, is just try to keep things consistent. Try to stay at the same height. So right now I'm kind of about level with the top of this tower. This is a good height to bomb people because it's a little harder for them to see and hit you, but you're also close enough to the ground that you can see them fairly reasonable. So I was able to hit that rock. That's what I was aiming for. So after you've mastered that, then you just start moving to smaller targets, and you can incorporate some diving with it. So let's just say I want to hit that building that's right out here again, okay? Well, once I get used to hitting it, I can incorporate some diving into it, and that changes the mechanics, which I don't think that's the building right there. But that changes the mechanics of the way the bomb's going to drop. So when you dive, it's not going to drop as far because your angle of attack is more steep. So it's not going to, you know, just say if you were coming level, it's going to fall further than if you were to drop it straight down, kind of like a dive bomb. So we're going to come back around, try to get a little bit of elevation, and then we're just going to drop from right about here, and it drops, you know, quite a bit faster, more steep of an angle, if you will. So that would be the next part I would try to get down first, is dive bombing with the Rogue. It's a very good plane for that. Now if you exceed the angle too much, it's not going to let you drop the bomb, because it, you know, it would hit itself. So the game keeps you from dropping a bomb on yourself. So let's just say if I want to drop a bomb on this barn up here, and I'm coming down just like this, it's not going to let me drop a bomb. See, I just tried it. It's too steep of an angle. It would be nice if it would just kind of shoot it out, but it doesn't. So you need to just get the hang of when you need to drop the bomb, as far as how steep of an angle you can drop it. I think it's somewhere, let's try to get a little elevation and we'll experiment. It's somewhere about, yeah, okay. So you can see it'll drop it right there, but so probably about, I'd say a 70-degree angle would be your max that you could drop a bomb at. So that would be my next tip, is just practice doing your dive bombing. So I'm going to come down on top of this dock house right here, and then just release right there, and I hit it. So you just keep doing that over and over on some random target that's stationary, and until you get the hang of it. And that's the main thing, is stationary targets. Don't practice on anything moving just yet. Okay guys, we're gonna move on to the next part of this bombing tutorial. After you've gotten the hang of bombing stationary targets from a level flight with no throttle input, and also your dive bomb, then what we're going to do next is practice hitting moving targets. So the best way to do this is just to pick a car, because there's so many of them in the game. So I see that black truck down there. I'm just going to fly down. Let's see, I kind of lost it. Okay, I'm going to fly around and see if I can't hit it. Okay, actually we're going to hit this car right here. Okay, so that's the next thing, is, you know, if you're coming up on a car or moving target, you want to try to get behind it as much as possible to level yourself out with it, so that's one less thing that you got to worry about as far as you know, missing the target when you're completely in line with it, then you don't have to worry about whether it's going to land to the left or right of it. You're going to be able to focus on just your release point. And let's just try this right here. Oh, that's pretty nice actually. Yeah, you're just going to be able to focus on your release point and get the hang of when you need to release it on a moving car. I've done this so much that I've just kind of, it's muscle memory at this point. But that would be the next phase of the tutorial, would just be to just practice on moving cars and moving targets. I mean, you could even try the train if you want, just something that's moving. And this is another tip, is just change your camera views, experiment around, see what you like best. Personally, I feel like this view right here, the far out, is probably one of the better ones, as you can see everything below you. It does distort your perspective a little bit as far as timing. It kind of throws me off a little bit if I haven't used it in a while. But it does let you see a lot below you. So camera perspective can really help as well. Just experiment around and see what you like best. To each his own. There's no real better view over the other. Alright, we're going to move on to the advanced part of bombing with the Rogue. So this is when you might want to start using throttle input. I'm just giving it a little bit right here. Using throttle input, rolls to try to juke the enemy out if they're shooting missiles at you, stuff like that. And then right before you get ready to hit, you line up the shot and, you know, just release the bomb, since you've already got the practice down where you need to do it and all that. So what we're going to do is practice doing that just a second so I can show you. We're going to hit, let me pick out a random target somewhere. Okay, let's just say this this building right here, okay? For the sake of this tutorial. So say somebody's shooting rockets at you, or missiles, whatever, you're juking. You want to try to get as close to them as you can, so that way you're not exposed for too long flying in a straight circle. Just kind of keep an eye on them, and then right at the last second you kind of zoom down and then just drop the bomb. So just practice that once you get the hang of the other parts, and then you can really do some cool stuff. It's just a matter of getting used to it all, and when you need to drop the bomb, your height, all that. It just takes time. Main thing is just practice. Don't get discouraged. Everybody's got to learn at some point. So just keep practicing, and that will conclude the advanced part of this Rogue tutorial. We'll move on to the Starling next. So something I just want to mention briefly is don't get too hung up on the different handlings that the aircraft have. I found that more often than not, pilots aren't good enough in GTA Online to be able to contest you if you're a pretty decent pilot with whatever aircraft you have, as long as it's one of the better handling ones. So personally, I like sport handling on my planes. It just makes it a little more controllable. I have used race handling in the past when I used to play all the time, and I was so used to it, but I don't get to play as much anymore, so I use sport handling now. It's a lot more manageable, and still have no problem taking out people with the Rogue or the Starling. So yeah, we're just gonna jump into this one right here and show you how I bomb with it. Alright, so we're just going to get some altitude. Go ahead and use this thing to its advantage. Alright, open our bomb bay. So the thing about this Starling is it's a glider mainly. You do have a rocket, of course, which helps to get your distance and altitude, get out of danger, that kind of thing, help you going. But mainly, you don't want to be using that when you're trying to bomb. I wouldn't recommend trying to use the booster when you need to come up on somebody, just because it takes it to maximum velocity really quickly and can throw off your timing pretty easily if you're not careful or used to it. So I would just refrain from using the booster at all when you're bombing, and just use it after you drop a bomb, so you can get out of danger and just get some altitude, which is the proper way to use a Starling anyway. If you use a booster all the time, you're going to run out pretty quick. This thing is kind of similar to the Rogue as far as you can keep it a certain speed, but it's a lot harder. It's not going to be as consistent as a Rogue as far as keeping that speed, but you can feather the thruster like that to just keep it a moderate speed so you can get used to the way it drops the bombs. See, that's, I thought it was going to go a little bit further than it did, honestly. But now I'm going super slow, so I'm just going to hit the boost, get myself back up to speed, and I'm going to try to hit this rock right here. So, that's a huge target. It's not that hard to hit. But I would just do the same thing as with the Rogue. Just find you a house or whatever and practice on that first. Then once you do that, start trying to dive bomb. And once you get used to dive bomb, move on to a moving target such as a car. This thing is just a little bit, we'll see. I was able to get it because I had explosive bombs, but I missed a target on that. It's just so much, what's the word for it? It's not nearly as forgiving as the Rogue. It's hard to be consistent with the Starling as far as bombing goes. You got these constant variances of speed to deal with the booster, and it just makes it a lot more difficult, in my opinion, to really hone your bombing craft with it. And it's so maneuverable and agile that it can be a pain to deal with sometimes. I'm gonna try to hit this. See, in the Rogue, I feel like that probably would hit, but I'm so used to the Rogue that it's hard for me to just jump right into the Starling and get used to the way it bombs. I do like this more for dogfighting than I do the Rogue. Not that a Rogue's bad, but this does handle quite a bit better, and it's harder for enemies to hit you with this thing because it's such a small aircraft. So I generally use this for dogfighting and the Rogue for bombing, just because of that. But I was able to hit it that time. Now that I'm getting a little more used to the way this rocket handles and that kind of thing. But that's just what I wanted to show you is when you get used to the way this thing handles and what you need to do to be able to hit a target with it. Let's just say you're going to come down on this car right here. See, it's just gliding and falling a lot slower. So, and then you just use your booster, get up out of the way, level out, and then you can make your next attack run. But that's the proper way to use a Starling. I would try to get as close as you can with it, just because its speed is, not constant like the Rogue. It's just something that you have to get used to. It constantly varies because of diving and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's the thing about the Starling is it's a glider with a rocket attached. Its speed's going to be a lot harder to manage than a Rogue as far as keeping that consistency going. It's not going to just sit there and maintain that speed when you let off the throttle like the Rogue will, because the rocket is the throttle. Just get yourself to an invite-only lobby so people aren't messing with you, and practice, practice, practice. Hit those houses, hit those cars, and before you know it, you'll be dropping bombs on everyone. Probably bring the video to a close. I appreciate you watching. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully this helps. Till next time.